It is really, really cool to visit Misty and Larry's house because not only do they have wild birds they take care of, they also have a number of domestic birds. Quite a number of domestic birds. They like the citizens, that is parrots. They love parrots and they've got an extensive array of them, shall we say. And everyone has its own personality. Parrots exhibit their personality with their voices. One of them, for example, just likes to scream. He likes the sound of his voice. He wants you to hear his voice, no matter where in the universe you are. He will make sure you hear his voice. He doesn't really talk, he just vocalizes. There's another bird whose cage sits next to the telephone. He and the telephone have extensive conversations. Every time the telephone rings, the bird answers in the telephone's language, and they go back and forth. Another bird has his cage close to the television. That bird has absolutely fallen in love with James Earl Jones. It is like stepping into another world when you're a guest at their house because like clockwork at 7 o'clock, you'll be jolted out of bed by, "Ah, this is CNN." Do we anthropomorphize animals? Of course we do. We're furries. That's what we're all about. Don't anthropomorphize animals. Who came up with that? That's like saying, don't name the baby until it can discuss Nietzsche with you. A belief I personally share. Do not name the baby because it might wind up on the menu, but Mr. 2 will talk about that later. I have many, many stories of wildlife. Sometimes they're good stories, sometimes they don't have good endings. Animals are an interesting bunch. We have looked at them for many thousands of years because we share our world with them. Why shouldn't we look to them? They make us curious. We want to imagine they think like us. And there are some animals that we can almost say do. The domestic cat comes to mind. Yes. The domestic cat is actually not native to this planet. They arrived sometime about 3000 BC in a spaceship and have been attempting to subjugate the species ever since. Let's face it, they are a parasite. They come into your home, they control your mind, they cause you to change your way of life to match theirs. You feed them, you shelter them, you see to their medical needs, you keep them alive. Is that not the definition of a parasite? But what do we get from that parasite? Endorphins. It's true. You can look this up. This is a scientific fact. Remember science? Thank you. When a human being pets an animal, when we placed our hands upon the animal's fur and stroke it, by the way, please do not do this to fursuiters, it doesn't grow back. When we pet an animal, let's take a cat as an example. Our blood pressure goes down. Stress hormones are reduced. We physically feel better petting an animal. It's why we want to do it. This is a measurable, observable, quantifiable fact. I used to live in a little house up in Vermont when I was in graduate school. The landlady, wonderful old lady who ran the library, had a monstrous, gigantic macro fur cat by the name of Irish. And that was a great name for him. He could have been in a pub brawl with the best of them. Irish was about 19 feet tall. That's not true. But he was a big cat. Odd thing about that cat, even though he did not appear to seek to control my mind, as most cats do with that sonic attack of theirs, you know that one? Graduate school is stressful. Graduate school can really take a lot out of you. I would be up late. I would sometimes routinely get back at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning from the lab. That cat somehow always knew when things had gone wrong. He would ignore me for a week. But if I had a really bad day, for reasons I do not know, whatever motivations he had, dined with him years ago, he would come to greet me at the doorstep. And I would sit and I would pet him. And my stress hormones would go down. My blood pressure would go down. My pulse rate would slow. I would feel better. There was one particular evening I remember, horrendous, absolutely horrendous day in the lab. Things just had not gone right. I came home. It was one of those New England summer nights when it's all foggy and dark and dreary, and you expect Jack the Ripper to come out and murder you, and you kind of wish he would. I drove up, kicked the door closed. And I really felt awful. And I came around the side of the house, and there he was, sitting, waiting right there. And I just sat down on the doorstep. I put my hand down and went right back. And I started doing this, this right, And I felt the stress hormones go down. I felt my blood pressure go down. I felt my pulse rate slowing. And then Irish walked around the corner of the house. That's when it occurred to me that Irish was an orange cat. He was not black and white. The black and white animal was sitting there looking at me like, dude, just what the fuck, man? I mean, I kind of like it, but I didn't even know your name. I just went, okay, that's nice. All right, I'm just going to go over here. All right. That skunk hung around for 3 weeks. He still sends me Christmas cards. Wildlife encounters. I've had so many of them. Animals that I've tried to help. As I said, not all the stories have a good ending. Not too many months ago, in my house in Pennsylvania, I have a condominium with a nice stone wall right next to the door. It's a very, very kind of rustical place. I'm very fond of it. I came home one evening, and I was unlocking my door, was about to go in, and I happened to glance over the stone wall, which is right about here, and I was quite astonished to see a bat. Just kind of hanging out, upside down. He's just stuck to the wall. He's like, there, I'm a bat. Okay. I'm like, dude, wow. And he just kind of lifted his head and looked up at me, and I'm like, man, you're a bat. And he said, yeah. So I was like, well, it's just cool that, you're a bat and you're here, and I'm like, you're like, right, it's like we're just like talking to each other, and it's like, you're so close, and you're a bat, and I'm not, and and all that, and he said, is there something I can do for you, man? I said, no, I'm just saying what's up, I'm just gonna go inside, all right, just, me inside, and have a great night, take it easy. He's like, yeah, whatever, ass. So I went inside. I was like, dude, I wasn't using that Twitter twat that you twits use now, so I didn't make twat twits. So I just kind of was like, wow, dude, that was bad. That was so cool. So I went to bed. Had a drink, then went to bed. Actually, had several drinks, I went to bed. Not true. I actually don't drink at home. I only drink when I have company. Being on IRC is company. Having the radio on is company. Because someone's talking to you. I woke up the next day, and I wake up very, very early because I go to the gym. I work out for an hour at the gym every single morning. It's part of my ongoing pathetic attempt to cling to my faded youth. So, yeah, it'll happen to you too. Anyway. Back packed my gym bag, got myself ready, slung it over my shoulder, opened the door, stepped outside, closed the door, and lo and behold, he's still there. I was, wow, dude, I kind of figured you'd have gone off doing bad stuff by now. And I looked at him and he wasn't moving. I went, yeah, I wonder if he's I can so, wow, I can actually touch him. He's warm, so he's still lying. And I'm like, maybe he likes the thing on the back of the neck too. I'll try. This is so cool. And after a moment, he looked up at me and he said, dude, you do know I'm a rabies vector species, right? And I said, right. I remember now. I knew I had that little nagging thought. I'm just gonna go back inside, okay? And he's like, yeah, whatever. So I went inside, I'm like, oh shit, wash the hand. Okay, that ain't natural. That's a problem. Especially in Pennsylvania. You know, we got that stuff up there. So I didn't know what to do. Okay, I have a potentially rabid animal. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'll call the police. Call the police, remember, protect and serve, I'll call the police. So I dialed 911. Yeah, ring, 911, what's your emergency? Yes, ma'am, I would like to report a bat. She said, who's holding it? I said, nobody, it's just stuck to the wall. No, wait, it's a bat, it's an animal bat, and it's here, and it's acting very strangely. She said, what's it doing? I said, nothing. She said, sir, making prank calls to emergency services is a felony. I said, no, this is not a prank call. It's not doing anything. She said, well, what's so strange about that? I said, bats do things, and it's not. He should be out like, you know, fluttering around, fighting crime or something. He's just stuck to the wall. So she said, well, what do you want me to do? You raise a good question, actually. I kind of thought you had an idea. That's why I called you. Animal control. Could you call animal control and have them send out, you know, the animal guy with his bat kit or whatever? She said, animal control doesn't come on duty until 7 a.m. It's 5. So what am I supposed to do? See, I got a bunch of little ladies living here. I didn't want, you know, one of the little ladies to come out because for all I know, this, you know, that could be like patient 0 of the zombie apocalypse. You know, bites the little lady, I come home and here's Marge upstairs. I say, you do not want to be responsible for the zombie plague. She said, sir, I'm sure the bat's not going to turn anybody into a zombie. I said, how do you know? I'm a scientist! I know these things. She said, sir, I will send animal control at 7 o'clock. I said,